this session with you. I was sat in your shoes over 25 years ago, deciding what career I wanted to pursue, and tax was the very last thing that I considered. It was not something that leapt out as an exciting area, but it is a choice that I am so glad I made. It's a business that is totally dependent upon people, skills, and diversity. It's a business that encourages people to be challenging and invigorating and to work as a team, and Deloitte is really at the heart of that. It's a business whose asset is its people, and who they are very committed to investing in. So that said, I think it's a mark of how far Deloitte has come. That in 2020 we marked 175 years of Deloitte. It was a great achievement, and it started in 1845 with Mr. Deloitte, William Welsh Deloitte, an individual whose integrity and whose ideals really are at the heart of the business, and it remains the absolute core of what we deliver and what we believe in. And I think if you talk to any person who works for Deloitte, they will talk about Deloitte as an employee, as it's a caring organisation, not just for its employees, but for its environment and for its clients. People who are close to Deloitte will tell you that Deloitte is all about ownership of integrity. And to that, it's a global organisation which now employs more than 286,000 people. So I think if we can move to the next slide, we can look at some of the areas of the success that our business has seen. So if I ask you, think of a country, any country, we are probably in that country, we probably have a presence there. We're currently across 3 regions, the Americas, EMEA and Asia Pacific. We have a presence in 150 countries, 110 plus Deloitte offices, employing 334,800 professionals. That is bigger than some cities in UK specifically, maybe not in India, but definitely in the UK. Alongside that, think of any of the top businesses, and we work for them, we provide services to them. We cover 80% of the corporations in the top 500. We have 140 plus lines of business. So, tax and legal is only one of any number of services that we provide to all our global community across the world. And our revenue is in excess of 47 billion. And the thing that we are probably most proud of is that we deliver in excess of 59,500 hours of volunteer work every year in India specifically, which is where I'm based, by the way. I'm here in Hyderabad. We have a day when we go out into the community and we look at how we can make a difference, what we can do to actually help people and to actually connect. And we're very, very proud of that presence and what we do. So moving on. What is it that we actually provide for our clients? As I said, we're a global delivery. We look at innovation. We're at the forefront of how to deliver services effectively, efficiently. We're continually changing the way we think, we're continually changing the way we deliver, and we're looking for innovation and really different ways of using people's skills. So what are the areas that we actually concentrate on? There's obviously the audit assurance, and I'm sure everybody knows what that involves. We're looking at, in audit, we go into big businesses, little businesses, any size, and we make sure that they're being run properly. We give confidence to the marketplace, to the stock exchange, and to the investors, and we provide the usual audit service. Consulting, it's a growing part of our business and one that provides to our clients the insight into their business. How do you make your business better? What is it that is involved in your business operations? Who are your customers? How do you market your business? Look at the performance. How do we help you improve that? Look at the HR aspects, the human capital, and we give advice across mergers and acquisitions, transactions. If you look at any major transaction in the marketplace, we've given somebody advice in connection with that. We look at the effect on the growth of the business, and we look at the strategy and analytics. We are at the core of consulting. So moving on to the enabling areas, what do you understand about your business? How does your business grow? Well, it's based on talent. As we've said, Deloitte is very firmly a believer in people and what people bring to businesses. Understanding the services you can offer and do offer. What are your limitations? But what can you think about in terms of new markets? We look at client and market growth. One of the big areas, and I think this has been very significant in 2020 and 21, we forecast that healthcare services would have a huge impact in the marketplace. And who could have foreseen that a pandemic would have, we've seen investments in businesses that provide vaccine, producing vaccine, putting them in the marketplace, but also, masks and all those kind of things that are attached. But understanding that market and having the foresight to know that actually this was a key area of growth is something that we worked very hard on about 5 years ago. And building into that the global and strategic services. We look at risk and brand protection. It's all very well, you think of any huge organisation and it's a brand. How do we protect that? How do we stop it being copyrighted? How do we stop that copyright being fraudulently marketed on the black market? We advise people on that. And technology, the fastest growing area of the business in terms of how we do things efficiently, effectively and smartly, but also taking our clients on that journey as well. I'm going to come to tax last because that's my baby. Risk and financial advisory, again, you think about hacking, you think of the impact of stealing and mass amounts of data. How do you protect business from the risk to their reputation? A bank losing all its customers' data shuts that bank down and closes that business down. How do you make sure that your customers, your clients meet their regulatory and operations requirements and that you safeguard their business? It's one of the biggest areas of growth, and it's one that Deloitte have invested personally a lot of time and energy into safeguarding. We have incredible safeguards within our business. So moving on to tax. Tax is at the core. There was a very famous saying, there's nothing so sure in life as death and taxes. Tax is worldwide. It keeps countries running, it keeps organisations, profitable organisations paying tax means that the world economy keeps moving. So we provide business tax services to core businesses. We provide advice on employer services. So if you think about, I'm a UK employee working in India. So Deloitte actually look after all my reporting requirements in India and in the UK, and we do that for the likes of some of the biggest organisations in the world. As you can imagine, employees moving around the world to deliver the businesses' services. Multi-state tax services, so our global businesses are in a number of countries and they have reporting requirements in those countries. We deal with all that for them. International tax services, again, what are the implications of a company having an agent or a branch or a business in one particular territory and in another? How does that interact? We look at all those kinds of implications. We have a brand new arm to our services in tax, and that's the legal services that we now provide to our clients. Mergers and acquisitions are huge. In this changing economy especially, we're seeing businesses come together to safeguard their future. We're looking at how that's done, whether it be an asset acquisition or whether it be simply taking over the whole business or just its people. And then we have our tax management consulting. How do we arrange our tax affairs so that our business prospers? So you can see that our global delivery is across every aspect of our client's business, and we're involved in every part of that business and the success of that business. So if we move on to the next slide. So Deloitte Tax in India, an overview. Okay, so just to give you a bit of background, I work for the UK firm, and we recognise that the skills in India are very important to our business, and as part of that investment, I came out here for 2 years, and I've actually been here for 4.5 years now, and I'm probably going to be here for a few more years yet. But we look at the UK in US, in what we call in US style, which the US firm set up the branch here, decided that actually we could offer our services, a lot of our services from India, and so we've invested a huge amount in developing all those services that back up the bigger delivery. So accounting and bookkeeping services support the accounts that we prepare. International tax, there's a compliance service for international operations. The reporting requirements are all met by this part of our business. Indirect tax, what do we mean by indirect tax? Well, in UK it's referred to as value-added tax. I'm sure the taxes are never just direct taxes. We provide a compliance service that provides reporting across any jurisdiction in relation to local requirements. Individual tax services, so this is my forte, this is where I've worked for over 25 years. I'm responsible for heading up the personal client tax services team. We deal with individual tax returns, we deal with the tax structuring for individuals, their families, their businesses, their trusts, any part of their personal development in terms of tax services that will impact on their family business. And it's a great area to work in, because if you think about it, an individual can own a business, he pays taxes through his business, he'll be compliant through his business, but as soon as it comes to him and his family, or her and her family, then it becomes personal, and that's when it matters to them most. It's where we have the biggest impact in my experience, and in what I love about my job, is connecting with individuals, and it offers great opportunities to use a lot of skills. We have our global employer services, where we prepare income tax returns for employees of large companies, whether they be in their local jurisdiction or their home jurisdiction. We assist employees with deciding what package that employee needs. They're living away from home, they need somewhere to live, we need to make sure they don't pay more tax than they would at home. We review their payroll obligations, and we safeguard the compliance requirements, make sure that they deliver the reports they need to by the due dates. Business tax services, again, is preparation of financial statements, and it fits very comfortably with accounting and bookkeeping. international tax, and all the aspects that we've discussed before. It brings together everything in one place, and it looks at the business as a whole. Are they meeting their global responsibilities? So companies housed in the UK requires a copy of accounts. Then in the US there'll be there's a US business tax reporting requirement. Wherever they are, there will be a reporting requirement, whether it be in terms of just delivering a set of accounts or a tax return, or something further. There may be requirements to submit statements of transactions, and we deal with all that for them. And then finally, the technology automation, and this is really now at the heart of where we're investing. We're investing in people who can think differently and find solutions. It's very good to get the data, but what does the data mean? How do we analyse it? We can generate data in lots of ways, very effectively and efficiently, but what do we do with that data, and how do we put it to best use for our clients? So we're looking at both direct and indirect tax automation. We're looking at global solutions for exchanging information, and we're looking at how technology, we can go into businesses, we can test their services, we can come up with solutions for that by investing in our developers. So really big growing part of our business. And again, it's people who understand tax who are at the core of that. The basic training in tax builds those skills and works alongside them. So moving along. So Deloitte Tax in India started in 2004. We followed our US practice, and we decided that India was a fantastic source of great skills and energy. We looked at universities, we looked at the graduates here, and we could see that there was this huge appetite for learning, for development, great energy that actually could benefit our business, and it's now become pivotal. So in 2004 we had business tax services and tax management consultancy, very small practice. I can remember our business leader coming out here recruiting about 7 or 8 people in the UK to get this business up and running. It was run alongside the US program that the US firm invested here first, and we followed their business model, and it's very much designed to build a completely autonomous unit, so offering career opportunities right the way to director and above. There is no limitation to the career opportunities. Between 2004 and 2006, we had Australia come on board, and we started introducing long-term assignments to the USI in financial year 2010 to support the growth of the business. We have seen Australia, Canada, Germany, Netherlands, Japan and Belgium come on board. We also have Ireland with us now, and we are encouraging the Eastern Bloc now to look at us in terms of building out the capability. We have a full supporting, we are in business tax, UK business tax, which we're actually focusing on. We have in excess of 350 employees, we're almost approaching 390 employees, and the growth potential for this year is going to take us to about 460. We have we are now at the stage, having started working for the UK and for the member firms, we're now working with them, supporting clients directly. We have a leadership centre in India. We have a fantastic leadership programme for women that really supports growth and development. We have some of the top women in charge of India, USI, is Nikki Holt, incredible role model for supporting and empowering women to reach their potential. We see a lot of people who join us go and test the waters elsewhere but want to come straight back. So the boomerangs, as we call them, they come back, and we've got a lot of homegrown directors now. So going from a very small group of 20 people who are all starting where you will start, within a relatively short space of time, we've got a fully fledged USI leadership team who run the business in India that is pivotal to UK development, UK delivery, and across all member firms. We've got financial services industry that's fully established. We've got supporting courses. It's huge. It's really at the centre of what we deliver to the member firms. So moving on to the next slide. So the profile. What do we need? What kind of professional do we need to support what the member firms are doing here in Hyderabad, in US India? We need people who are going to support our services across every line of the business that we deliver, who are going to be diligent, eye for detail, willing to learn. Our clients include multinational corporations, they include privately held corporations and partnerships, high net worth individuals, and when we say high net worth individuals, we're talking about the richest people probably that you can think of across the world. We look at how we support those businesses, those individuals in terms of development, advisory services, and compliance. You know, compliance is at the core of our business. We look at automation, tax technology, and we work with our Indian professionals as part of the integral client service team. We have moved to the point where here in India we have managers, senior managers, directors who are client facing and are running those engagements, whereas previously they were run from any number of countries around the world. But this delivery model has become pivotal to our business and the growth. So really, this is the core of where Deloitte is growing and investing. So if we move to the next slide. So what are our expectations? Well, we really do hold ourselves out as being different. We are a people organisation that puts at the very heart of everything we do our professionalism, our delivery. So we need people who are interested in global tax, who have an inquisitive nature, who want to know more, who want to understand. We need people who will question. Don't just be told something is right and do it. Question it, understand why you're doing it, look at the relevant tax concepts. I heard recently one of my colleagues say it's understanding the helicopter approach. It's having that ability to lift yourself up, look down and understand how everything impacts around. Interested in taking responsibility for your own development and career advancement. I've worked at two large organisations before Deloitte, and one of the things that struck me is that at Deloitte you are responsible for yourself. You really own your career and you go as far as you want to go. It's up to you, and you can invest in yourself. You can draw on the resources. We have a fantastic coaching and mentoring system. We have an amazing talent team that are incredibly supportive. And if you want to get anywhere, you can go anywhere. You have to be able to organise and prioritise. You have to be professional. You have to be able to communicate effectively. So the spoken English, which is the main language, has to be. You have to be good verbally, and you have to be able to correspond effectively, not just between your global teams and colleagues here in India, but also with the clients. And you've got to be able to understand what clients are talking to you about, because they're not always that clear. You've got to read into it, understand, and challenge them as well as yourself. We have several shifts depending, as you can imagine, because we serve a global organisation. The time differences around the world impact our shift patterns. So we in the UK tend to do an 11-8 shift because we at the moment are 5.5 hours ahead of the UK. But the time differences are different. So there's a 6:30, 3:30 shift, a 7-4 shift, 8-5 shift. It will really depend which member firm you work for. I think willing to live and work in Hyderabad is a must. However, that said, we are all working from home at the moment. It's been decided that at this present time, it's much safer for our employees, for our team members, and we will transition back to the office at some point, but not in any way like we knew in the past. So our working days will be very different to how they were, before this. Before I think coming up to the anniversary. I think it was March the 12th when the office in Hyderabad shut. We all went home. So there will be a requirement before, and it's very evident that the teams miss each other. They're very close. And we work on Zoom, we've onboarded people remotely, which has been fantastic. But people are people and they like to connect, and so we connect in Hyderabad. That is where the core of our delivery is centred. Moving on. I'm just going to say a few words about this, and then I'm going to hand that to Chirag to take on. But I think the rewards and opportunities, I think that there are key components to rewards and opportunities, and I think you have to bear in mind that salary is very important, but career advancement and the opportunity to have challenges, to be challenged, to have a very supported career path that is within your ownership is an incredible career. It's part of the rewards that for me is more important sometimes than salary. Yes, salary is important obviously, but for me the investment in your learning and development throughout your career, the support to get where you want to go, the development of your skills. We have really great courses that teach us about the marketplace, what businesses do, understanding our clients, working with our clients. One of my colleagues in US Business Tax here in Hyderabad has recently been working with a huge company in Pune and has actually been there with them. Our clients welcome us into their business to actually work on secondments very regularly now, because so many businesses are based in India. So there's great opportunities to do well in a visible, strategic and fast-growing part of our tax organisation. So great opportunities. With that, I'm going to hand over to Chirag because I need a glass of water more than anything.
Thank you so much, Shiva. Thank you so much for giving such deep insights into the organization and the profile. Now moving on, guys, as we all know that in manufacturing industry, we have machines, and these people, they regularly oil these machines to keep them up and running. But we as an organization, we do not have machines. It's our people who are considered as our valuable assets, and we always invest in our people to make them future leaders of the organization. So having said that, this is how your career path in the organization is going to look like. Now, before I move ahead, one thing which I want to mention here is that for today we have come here for an internship, right? For an internship profile. But the reason why we're doing this particular branding session is because the people who get a PPO afterwards do not get to know about the profile and the organization. So for them, this is something that let's say they come to our organization, they do their internship, and then they get a PPO. Which is your pre-placement offer, they will again come back and join us as tax consultant 1. So if you see the hierarchy here, it's pretty much a flat structure. We just have 6 levels up and you become a managing director. If you look at their different levels which are there are some certain training programs which have been aligned to every certain level. And that actually speaks about how much we invest in learning with our employees, right? So when you enter the organization, you start off as a TC1 or a tax consultant 1. Further, when you move up, you become a tax consultant 2. So a TC1 and a TC2, they're primarily known as preparers, and they basically analyze the financial statements of the clients and then they prepare the returns. Now when you move up, you become a senior also known as a reviewer, whose basic job is to review the statements that have been prepared by the tax consultant 1 and 2. So, this is like an additional check that we get so that, we ensure that every single return that has been filed from our offices is correct and accurate, and that we impart a delightful client experience. Further, when you move up, you become a manager, you have your own set of team, you have your some set of clients which you are handling. Again, when you move up, you become a senior manager, and it is at this point of time that we start visualizing you as a leader of the organization. And finally, when you reach the apex, you become a managing director. So now let's just talk about the different training programs which are mentioned on this particular slide. So if you see, at TC1 and TC2 level, you are having programs like I Perform Manage that which help you manage your day-to-day work and how to build those relationships, how to manage your relationships, and how to work with teams. When you move up, you enter the I Evolve Academy, where we give you industry depth knowledge, client related knowledge. Again, when you move up, as a manager, you enter your manager academy, where we actually help you own your basic managerial skills. Finally, when you become a senior manager, you enter the leadership academy, where we help you understand the basics of leadership and how to apply it within your team. And finally, when you become a managing director, you enter the relationship mastering essentials, where we actually help you apply all that you learned during your journey in Deloitte, and build relationships, become that visionary person who can take the firm to greater heights. Okay, moving on. Now, guys, culture is something that I strongly believe is something that cannot be read out from the slide. This is something that has to be experienced firsthand. But again, if I talk about some of the some points about our culture, we have an excellent buddy program that we have, and the reason why I mentioned buddy program in the culture slide is because I remember my initial days in the organization. I was just looking for some support, some kind of help, someone who would tell me what is it that I could do in the organization, someone who could equip me with what all I need to start off my journey here in Deloitte. So a buddy is someone who's very much closer to your age, who's someone who's there to take care of you, who's there to guide you in terms of what is it that you will have to do in the organization. You can ask him or her pretty much any particular questions. It could even be where exactly is the cafeteria. So that buddy will be there with you for the first few months. He or she will help you to settle down with the organization. Now, when I talk about attracting employees, we have innovative hiring and recruiting programs. We have a campus brand which is created with programs like Maverick. Then again, if I talk about growing our employees, we have customized milestone learning programs for them, different learning programs which are there. We have this maximizing your professional success, MYBS program for women practitioners, and then we have Deloitte Young Leadership programs also. So these are different ways where we are investing in our employees so that they grow and become the future leaders. And finally, when I talk about retaining our employees, we have cross-functional opportunities to widen your skills. We have counseling, coaching, mentoring at every level. Now, these are some of the accolades that we've won over the period of time. We are ranked as number 3 in Universum's most attractive employees in India in 2020. We are amongst 100 best companies to work for according to Fortune's best companies to work for in 2019. We are also termed as number 1 employer for B-school graduates as per the Outlook and NPR rankings. And there is one accolade that I take immense pride in sharing with you, and that is we've been named as one of the 100 best companies for working for girls for 26th time in a row in 2019. Talking about the learning and development, as I mentioned, Deloitte is a firm which strongly believes in investing in its employees, and we have a strong belief that until and unless our employees are not groomed well, are not trained up to the mark, we as a firm will not be able to grow. The fact that we have something known as Deloitte University itself speaks for it. We have a dedicated facility, state-of-the-art infrastructure. You go there, all your trainings and everything they happen there. It's in Gachibowli and Hyderabad. As I mentioned, every new particular technology, different sessions, industry experts coming to our Deloitte University and giving delivering lectures. It's a wonderful experience, in terms of growing yourself. So we focus a lot on the learning and development of our employees, and not just the training programs that I mentioned. There are n number of mandatory training programs. Even if you don't want to do it, you will have to do it. It's something that we believe in, that that you should keep on learning throughout your whole life. Alright, moving on, I would just ask you to rewind back a little bit on the second slide that we were talking about. As Iva was mentioning, our values are very much associated towards people, clients, and our community. So guys, community again, we believe that community is indeed our business, and around the year we do a lot of things for our community, but there is one particular thing which I want to really talk about, and that is our Deloitte Impact Day. So Deloitte Impact Day happens once in a year, where we do not expect our professionals to work. All our professionals, we just go out to be open, we just go out to the community and we serve. So we go for plantation drives, we go for cleanliness drives, we go to schools, we teach underprivileged children, and that's our way of giving back to the community that we. Okay, now I've pretty much spoken about everything which is mentioned on this particular slide. I would reframe the question from why Deloitte to why not Deloitte. Okay? So there is one thing again which I want to mention about in this particular slide, and that is something which we all people from Deloitte we take immense pride in, and that's our Deloitte Towers. So if I talk about our offices, guys, it's a wonderful, beautiful space where we work in 17 floors, 150,000 square feet of area. Beautiful place where you can work in. Nice, bright offices. We have 2 floors which are fully dedicated cafeterias, multi-cuisine restaurants. You can go there and relish all the things there. 17th floor again is something which is really worth mentioning, and this is very close to my heart, and that is that place that has been dedicated totally to our well-being. That includes your gymnasium, your pool table, then you have snooker, then you have foosball, chess, table tennis, you just name it and we have it all. Because the reason why we do that is we totally understand that while you're at work, stress does creep into you, and that's our way of giving back. Okay, so that you can rejuvenate, you can relax, and then you can get yourself best work each and every day. Alright, talking about a very important aspect of our organization, and that is inclusion. Deloitte is of a strong belief that until and unless people from different backgrounds, irrespective of their caste, creed, sexual preferences, they all do not come together, with different ideas, we as a firm will not be able to grow, alright? And that is why, Deloitte has strongly focused on inclusion for more than 2 decades. I would say a lot has changed over the years, but few things have remained very much constant, and that remains our leadership commitment and continuous evolution to innovative approach to fostering an inclusive culture. Alright guys, so are you ready? Now, we've spoken almost all good things about Deloitte. We spoke about the profile, we spoke about the organization, we spoke about Deloitte Towers. But then the real question is, how is it that you get into Deloitte? So my humble request to you would be, please pay careful attention on this particular slide and the coming particular slide after this, where we'll be talking about the testing process in detail. So, here let's just talk about the eligibility criteria first. So guys, to be eligible for this particular profile, first requirement is you need to have a full-time degree in your graduation in BCom, BBA, BBM, BMS or BBAF. This profile is not for engineers or for people who have done their BSc. This is only for the streams that I just mentioned, and that is full time. Apart from that, in your post graduation, you need to have an MBA finance degree. A dual specialization can work, but yes, you need to have equal number of credits. And finally, your qualifying percentage should be 60% in MBA, as on the on the date of application. So I understand that you all are in your first year. I'm not very sure if you've given your exams or not. But in case you've given and your results are out, you need to have 60% as of now. Okay. Now let's talk about the testing pattern that will be there. So guys, if I talk about the evaluation process, you have a communication test and a business proficiency test, which is a part of the pre-hire assessment test. So when you move ahead and clear these two particular tests, you move on to the next part, that is your round of interviews, where you have 3 rounds: HR round, technical round, and the final round. All of these 3 rounds could be an elimination rounds, and HR round usually taken by a talent professional like me or my colleague. Technical round taken by a manager. Final round is taken by someone like Iba. Okay. And if you clear all these 3 rounds and pre-hire assessment test, we will make you an offer on the very same day. Okay. Okay, now coming on to the most happiest slide of this session, that is your compensation slide. Don't worry guys, we will not make you work for free. Yes, you have a stipend and that is for around 25,000 rupees a month. I believe you will be working with us for around 6 to 8 weeks, so the timing again to be confirmed. That should be your placement officer. So this is the stipend that you will be getting, and apart from this, a lot of learnings that I would say. Now coming on to the final slide, that is your pre-hire assessment test. Let me just give you a brief about what is going to happen in these tests which are there. But then before that, let's just talk about the registration process and the testing process which will be there. Testing system requirements basically. So as far as the registration is concerned, today, maybe just after this branding session, I will be sending out a mail to your placement officer, and that will have the registration link. You guys will have to register through that link. Some things which are important with respect to the registration is that please mention your email IDs correctly. Something that I have seen in the past is that let's say if somebody has an email ID by the name of xyz@gmail.com, they will mention it as xyz@gmail.com, CON. So a very small mistake, and I won't even call it a small mistake, because every sort of communication that happens from our side, right from the registration to the testing to releasing the offer letters, everything happens on that email ID. And in case you're giving that email ID wrong, then you are at loss. Okay, so please pay careful attention while you're mentioning that email ID. That is one thing. Also, you have to make your resumes in the format that has been provided by us. So in the registration mailer, you will also have a format. You have to paste your recent photograph in that particular format which is there, and submit back to us. Okay. And third thing which I want to mention is that it is about the testing process. So the testing system requirements are very simple. You need to have a laptop or a desktop with a webcam attached to it. You also need to have good quality of headphones. I think the ones that you use with your cell phones, they work pretty fine. Okay, so the test will be remotely proctored. It's a video proctored test, and you will be given around 3 days to take up the test. You can take up the test from any particular place at any point of time. It's just that guys, please make sure that you have a good internet connection, and you are free for at least around 2.5 hours while you're taking up the test. Okay. And also make sure that you all are sitting in a closed room, without any particular background noises. Okay, so that is there. And yes, as I mentioned, it's a video proctor test. Hence, please make sure that you're not getting into any unethical practice. Please make sure that nobody else on your behalf is taking up the test, or you're pulling up the answers, or you're putting on pen drive and taking up the answers from out there or anything, because we are a technology driven firm, and if you do that, you will get caught, and that is a situation which you wouldn't want to get into, right? So I mean, all of you are doing your MBA, so I'm sure nobody wants to get into that unethical practice. But in case anybody gets into that, your candidature will be cancelled immediately. Alright. Now coming on to the final section, which I said was the communication and the business proficiency part. In your communication test, you will have 6 sections from part A to F. Part A is reading, where certain sentences will be displayed on the screen, and you will all you have to do is just read them aloud, and it will get recorded. Part B is repeat, where you hear some sentences being spoken into your earphones, and all you have to do is just repeat those sentences, and it will get recorded. Now there's a caveat which I want to mention here, and that is, please do not try to copy the accents of the people that are speaking in those headphones, because that is something which you will not be able to do, and I think your normal accents will just go fine. Okay. So part C is questions, where we will ask you very basic questions, very general questions, like let's say, where do you buy your groceries from? Is it from a grocery shop, or is it from an electronic showroom? So the answer to that would be a grocery shop. Okay. Part D, sentence build, where a certain section of sentence, sections I would say, would be jumbled up, and all you have to do is just rearrange them and make a meaningful sentence. Okay. So let's say, likes to swim my father. So the answer to that would be, my father likes to swim. Okay. Part E is story retelling, where you will hear a story being spoken into your earphones, and all you have to do is just retell the story in your own words. Let's say, something like Ram went out for dinner on 29th of Feb. He met with an accident. He was taken to the hospital, and then in the morning he got discharged. So a story like this, and all you have to do is just retell the story in your own words. Okay. Part F is your final section, which is open-ended questions. Open-ended questions are the questions which lead to another questions. So, before the start of every particular question, there will be a beep which will signal the start of the time. And, after 20 seconds, there will be again a beep which signals the end of the time. Okay? So, very general questions like, what do you think about your best friend? Questions related to you. Okay? So, things would be, questions would be there like that. Now, in communication section, you do not have an individual sectional cutoff. There is one overall cutoff that you have to clear. If you ask me what is the cutoff, I am sorry, I will not be able to disclose that. Okay. In case you move from the communication test immediately to the business proficiency test, that means you have cleared your communication test. Okay. And in case a message pops up saying that thank you for taking up the test, please submit a feedback, or a message saying that please contact the HR, that means you have not cleared your communication test. Okay. Now, for the people who clear the communication test and move on to the next round, which is your business proficiency test, you have 3 sections, which is financial accounting consisting of 30 questions, logical reasoning consisting of 30 questions, and Excel consisting of 15 questions. Financial accounting will contain basic accounting questions like general entries which are there, GAAP questions on GAAP, something like that. And there will be nothing on global taxation, nothing on US taxation, nothing of that sort. Okay, so don't worry. It is the curriculum has been designed in such a way that whatever you learn during your graduation and in your first year of your MBA and your 11th and 12th, that's the only part that we will ask you. Next part is logical reasoning, where you have questions on quant, you have questions on aptitude, you have questions related to logical reasoning, and questions on blood relation. Let's say A is the father of B, B is the mother of C. What is the relationship between A, and C? I'm just giving an example. Okay, so two trains are passing by each other at a speed of X, Y, Z. Just find out the distance between them. So just questions like these will come. Something that you actually prepared for your MBA. Those are the kind of questions which will come for logical reasoning. And finally, Excel. We are not asking you to prepare something on visuals or macros, something like that. Basic Excel functions which can help you do your work efficiently. Let's say how you create a new row, what's the VLOOKUP function, something like that. Basic questions on Excel. Okay. The total timing for this particular test would be around 75 minutes, over an hour, I would say. And if you clear this particular test, as I mentioned, you will move on to the round of interviews. People who clear this particular test in those 3 days, we will share that shortlist with your placement officers, and the date has already been communicated to your placement officer in terms of the interview date. Okay? So on that particular date, you will have the interviews, and as I mentioned, you have your HR round, technical round, and your final round. So guys, with this we come to the end of our session. We will now be opening the session for a Q&A round. If you have any particular questions, please use the raise hand option and we'll be more than happy to answer. I see one hand raised. Please once. I guess you're on mute. You have to unmute yourself. Please, Srinivas.
While we're doing that, there's a question in the chat room. Can we use pen and paper for the test?
Well, yeah, you can use a pen and paper, but I don't think it will be necessary, because you know the kind of questions that we have, there's no necessity of using a calculator or a pen and paper. So, yeah.
I think the only thing I would add to that is that use of pen and paper can actually cause delays and might cause time challenges for you. So better probably to do it on the screen.
Question from
lots of questions.
Yes, Srinivas.
Still on mute?
You have to unmute yourself, Srinivas. The left hand corner, just click on that mute button.
So there's a question, what's the duration of the internship? Am I right in thinking it's 6 weeks?
Yes, Eva, it's around 6 to 8 weeks. I'm still depending on the final dates which are there. Does previous experience be considered if having experience? Guys, if you have a relevant experience in global tax or in US tax, we do consider that. But apart from that, I think no other field is that we are considering. So I think what we're looking at is your basics, whatever you learned during your graduation and everything. Okay.
Yeah, on that point, I think I want to give people the opportunity to understand our business, and so we're very keen to give everybody equal opportunity. Yes, we take into account all aspects of any kind of experience, but it wouldn't put you in front of somebody else who hasn't got that experience.
Right, there's a question, cab facilities provided. Otherwise, we do not provide a cab facilities. There's no transportation which is being provided by Deloitte. But yes, in case you're working late at night after 8 or so, then there's a provision that to get a drop facility. But that totally depends on business.
If you're currently working, you have to really weigh up how much can you commit to the programme. We want full commitment, and so if you're working full time at the moment, you couldn't possibly do both alongside each other. It wouldn't be fair to yourself. You wouldn't be giving it the best shot. If you're working part time and it's a couple of hours, then maybe we can think about it. But we really do want full commitment to make it work.
Question, is it going to be work from home internship? Yes, guys, as of now, because we ourselves are working from home, there's nobody who's allowed to go into the office, so most probably this will be a work from home internship.
Did we answer that second question? Is it choose the correct answer, or we need to write for Excel? Is it a drop down? It's multiple. Are there multiple choices, or are there written answers? It's the second one down.
In the chat window?
Yeah.
Is it choose the correct answer, or we need correct? Yes, you need to choose the answer. So it totally depends. There will be a match of questions. You will have multiple choice questions, MCQs, which will be there, and again, you have to type some of the answers.
Wow. Somebody has had an internship for US tax and for Belgium. Will my experience be considered? great experience.